Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. We've been asking for your ideas for upcoming stories, and many of you told us you'd love some shorter adventures, especially ones featuring Bernice or Boo Boo and Kai Kai. This story is just that, a bedtime or anytime short about Bernice and Boo Boo. Bernice has a question for Papa Bear that a lot of people think about. Papa Bear answers her question with a story. Boo Boo and the Midnight Library. Bernice pulled her blanket up under her chin and let out a great big Olympic-sized yawn. Her friends, Twigga, Wolfie, and Madeline were comfy, and Cookie was curled up at the end of the bed. As Papa Bear was just about to give her a great big hug, she sleepily asked, "Papa, have you ever been so nervous you couldn't sleep?" "Of course, little bear. Everyone gets nervous. Sometimes we get so nervous it makes it hard to sleep." Bernice rolled onto her side to face him. "Does Boo Boo in your stories get nervous too?" "Especially Boo Boo," Papa said with a wink. "Do you want to hear about the night she couldn't sleep before her big presentation at the academy?" Bernice gave a sleepy nod. "Give me a hug and a kiss, and I'll tell you that story." "Thank you, Papa," Bernice said, as Papa Bear sat back down to tell her the story. Once upon a time, in a world full of magic and fun, there lived a brave little bear named Boo Boo. She lived in a large castle at the edge of a mystical forest. And in this forest, there were unicorns, fairies, gnomes, and all manner of insects, birds, and animals. It was a wonderful place. Tonight, however, Boo Boo was not feeling very wonderful at all. She tossed and turned in her cozy castle bedroom, pulling her blanket up to her chin, then kicking it off, then pulling it back up again. The moonlight streaming through her window seemed far too bright, and every little creak of the old castle walls sounded much too loud. Tomorrow was the day she had to give her presentation about courage in the kingdom to all the students at the academy, not just her classmates, but the older students too, and the teachers, and even some visiting dignitaries from neighboring kingdoms who were coming to see what the young people were learning. Boo Boo flopped onto her stomach and buried her face in her pillow. It was so strange. She had faced so many challenges in the past. She had run races and passed super hard tests. And even the first time she climbed onto Kai Kai's back and flew high up in the sky, it hadn't made her stomach feel all fluttery like this. But something about standing in front of all those people, with everyone looking at her and waiting for her to speak, well, it made her voice feel small and her legs feel shaky. A gentle tap, tap, tap came from her window. Boo Boo lifted her head to see Kai Kai's friendly face peering through the glass, his eyes gleaming in the moonlight. "Boo Boo," he whispered, "I saw your light still on. Are you all right?" Before she could answer, Bluebell's horn appeared beside Kai Kai. "We were both having trouble sleeping too," the unicorn said softly. "Perhaps we could help each other?" Boo Boo climbed out of bed and opened her window wide. "I'm so glad you're here," she said, feeling some of the tightness in her chest ease just from seeing her friends. I keep thinking about tomorrow and my stomach won't stop doing little flips." "Well," said Kai, settling his prickly chin on the windowsill, "I happen to know that midnight picnics are excellent for calming fluttery stomachs. I brought some of those chocolate drops from the bakery near the chocolate trees in the north. They stay open super late for us dragons." Bluebell nodded. "I'm not much for chocolate, but the clover is especially sweet. I could pick some for us to share. Perhaps some fresh air and stargazing will help tire us all out enough to sleep." Within minutes, Boo Boo had gathered a soft blanket and some leftover honey cakes from the castle kitchen, and the three friends made their way to their favorite meadow just beyond the castle gardens. The night air was cool and gentle, filled with the soft sounds of crickets, night pixies, and the distant hoot of an owl. They spread their blanket under the enormous tree and shared their midnight snack. Kai tried to make Boo Boo laugh by balancing chocolate drops on his nose, while Bluebell told them about the shooting stars she'd seen earlier that evening. "I just wish I could be brave all the time," Boo Boo sighed, leaning back against the oak's trunk. "Everyone expects me to be fearless because of all that we have done together. But talking in front of people feels scarier than any adventure we have had." "Being scared doesn't make you less brave," Bluebell said gently. "It just makes you, well, normal." As they talked, a soft, warm light began glowing deeper in the magical forest, something none of them had ever noticed during their daytime explorations. "Do you see that? I wonder what kind of magic it is," Kai asked, his voice filled with curiosity. The light pulsed gently, like a heartbeat made of starshine. Without speaking, all three friends found themselves drawn toward it, Boo Boo rolling up their blanket as they walked. The deeper they ventured into the woods, the brighter the glow became, until they found themselves standing before an amazing sight. Living trees had grown together to form walls and arches, their branches weaving into shelves that held hundreds of softly glowing books. Tiny lanterns made from fireflies hung from the ceiling of leaves, casting shadows across volumes that seemed to shimmer and breathe. Sleepy owls wearing delicate silver spectacles perched here and there, gently turning pages with their talons or carefully dusting book spines with their wingtips. "Oh my," breathed Bluebell, "it's a library." An ancient owl with spectacles that reflected the moon's light glided down from the highest shelf. "Welcome, young ones," she said in a voice like rustling leaves. "I am Whisper, keeper of the Midnight Library. This is where all the dreams and stories of the magical kingdom come to rest." Boo Boo stared in wonder at the glowing books. Dreams become books? "Indeed," Whisper nodded. "Each peaceful dream, each happy story shared before sleep. They all find their way here to ensure restful nights throughout the land." Her expression grew troubled. "But tonight, we have a problem. Several dream books have fallen into the worry well at the library's heart. Without them, people across the kingdom are having anxious, restless dreams." She gestured with one wing toward the center of the library, where a deep, dark well seemed to swallow all light that came near it. "To call the books back from the depths," Whisper explained, "someone must speak with a clear, confident voice that can travel all the way down to where the dream books are trapped. Kai stepped forward eagerly. "I'll try." He took a deep breath and called into the well. But his voice echoed strangely, and little puffs of smoke escaped, making him cough. The books didn't budge. Bluebell tried next, her voice sweet and musical as she sang down into the darkness. The melody was beautiful, but too soft to reach the very bottom where the books waited. Both friends looked at Boo Boo hopefully. "I'm not sure I can," Boo Boo whispered, stepping back. "If I am so nervous about speaking at school tomorrow, how can I possibly call loudly enough to reach those books?" Whisper's wise eyes grew gentle. "Dear little bear, do you think being nervous means you're not brave?" Boo Boo considered this. "Well, I suppose not, but—" "You came on this midnight adventure even while worried about tomorrow," the owl continued. "You wanted to help your friends sleep peacefully, and now you want to help the whole kingdom. That sounds quite brave to me." Kai nodded enthusiastically. "Remember when you were scared to cross the Singing Bridge or fly high above the snow-capped mountains, but you did it anyway because people needed help? And do you remember the time you helped me find the lost unicorn?" Bluebell added softly. Boo Boo felt just a little bit stronger after hearing her friend's words. Maybe being brave didn't mean never feeling scared. Maybe it meant caring enough about others to do important things, even when your legs felt shaky. She stepped up to the worry well and took a deep breath. "Dream books," she called, her voice trembling at first, but growing stronger with each word. "The kingdom needs peaceful sleep. Please come back to where you belong." Her voice, filled with genuine care for her friends and neighbors, echoed down into the darkness. Slowly, like gentle stars rising, the glowing books floated back up from the depths, settling softly onto their proper shelves. Whisper smiled and handed Boo Boo a small, luminous bookmark to remind you that courage and nervousness can be the very best of friends. As dawn started to warm the night sky, the library began to fade like morning mist. Walking back to the castle, Boo Boo realized she was actually looking forward to her presentation. Not because she wouldn't be nervous, but because she finally understood that being nervous while doing something meaningful was just another kind of bravery. And that is the end of our story. Good night. Sleep tight.